Infinite worlds, endless stories.
They say that when you lose one sense, your remaining senses sharpen to compensate for the loss. The blind hear the architecture of a room through echoes. The deaf feel the bass line of music through the floorboards. But Iris Vance had lost nothing. Instead, she had been given a new sensory layer entirely, an unwanted, predatory lens forced over her eyes. The morning sun does not bring clarity, it only brings scale. Iris stands on the corner of 32nd Street, her back pressed hard against the cold brick of a coffee shop. Her fingers are dug deep into the pockets of her oversized gray hoodie, her knuckles white. She is terrified to look up. But you cannot keep your eyes closed forever in a moving city. When she finally opens her eyes, the world is a sea of blinding, digital math. Hovering above the sea of umbrellas and winter coats is a forest of glowing white digits. It is an overwhelming, chaotic ledger of human mortality. She looks at a young mother pushing a stroller. Her clock reads 42 years, translucent and stable. She looks at a businessman rushing by with a briefcase. His reads 28 years. Most people are safe. Most people have time. But then she sees the stains. Every 10 out of 100 people carry the smudge. A thick, oily, pitch-black mark that clings to their skin like cold smoke. And above those marks, the numbers aren't counting down in decades. They are counting down in minutes. To understand a curse, one must test its boundaries. Iris flees the suffocating density of the commercial district, seeking refuge in a small public square. Her mind is a fractured loop, repeating the image of Nurse Gable stepping into the empty elevator shaft. 0 hours, 2 minutes, 14 seconds. The math had been flawless. It hadn't deviated by a single fraction of a second. She sits on a concrete retaining wall, her eyes scanning the sparse park. That is when she sees her. An elderly black woman sits on a green iron bench 20 feet away. She is wearing a thick knitted scarf, her face peaceful as she breaks up pieces of stale bread, tossing them to a cluster of pigeons at her feet. She looks entirely healthy. She looks safe. But above her silver hair, the numbers are bleeding a harsh, aggressive white light into the gray morning air. Zero hours, 5 minutes, 12 seconds. 0 hours, 5 minutes, 11 seconds. 5 minutes. Iris sits frozen. Her chest feels tight, her own breath caught in her throat. She looks at the woman's neck. There, just beneath the edge of her knitted scarf, the black stain is pulsing. It behaves like an invasive organism, darkening with every passing second, sinking deeper into the rich brown skin. 0 hours, 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Iris wants to run over. She wants to scream at the woman to stand up, to move, to go home. But what would she say? How do you tell a stranger that the air above their head is counting down to their execution? 0 hours, 1 minute, 15 seconds. The pigeons suddenly stop feeding. They tilt their heads, their small black eyes darting toward the street bordering the park. A strange, heavy tension settles over the square. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 10 seconds. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 9 seconds. Iris stands up. Her heart is hammering against her ribs like a trapped bird. 5, 4, 3. From across the street, a massive, unchained mastiff breaks loose from a courtyard. The dog is frantic, barking wildly as it bolts across the asphalt, charging directly into the park. It slams into the elderly woman's bench with immense, chaotic force. The bench flips backward. The woman's head strikes the sharp iron armrest with a dull, heavy thud. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. The digits flash purple and vanish. The woman is gone before her body even hits the gravel. The universe does not make mistakes. The math is absolute. Iris stumbles away from the park, her vision blurring with tears. If the clock is an unyielding law, then what does that mean for Leo? Her mind violently flashes back to the image of her younger brother standing in the hospital corridor, completely oblivious to the burning white digits floating above his head. 7 days. Except it isn't 7 days anymore. A day has passed. The time is eroding. She walks the rain-slicked sidewalks, her jaw clenched. She refuses to accept it. There must be a flaw in the system, a loophole. If she can see the numbers, it must mean she has the authority to change them. Why give someone the sight to see a tragedy if they are completely powerless to stop it? It would be a cosmic cruelty. She decides she will not be a passive observer. She will find someone else with a short clock, and this time, she will break the math. Night falls over the city, bleeding neon pinks and deep blues into the dark puddles. Iris stands at one of the busiest pedestrian intersections downtown. The rain is pouring now, a cold sheet of water that forces everyone to look down at their feet. The crowd accumulates at the edge of the curb, waiting for the crosswalk signal to change. Directly in front of Iris stands a young man in a tailored business suit. He has his headphones pushed tightly against his ears, his shoulders bobbing slightly to a rhythm only he can hear. He is completely insulated from the world around him. Iris looks up. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 45 seconds. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 44 seconds. The digital white numbers are blinding against the dark sky. And there, clinging to the back of his neck, is the oily black stain, pulsing violently in the dark. Iris takes a step closer. Her breath comes in short, ragged gasps. 30 seconds. She looks down the street. From the blind corner, a massive city transit bus is speeding up, trying to beat the changing traffic light. Its tires lose traction on the slick, wet asphalt. It begins to hydroplane, a multi-ton block of steel sliding uncontrollably toward the crowded crosswalk. The businessman doesn't see it. He doesn't hear the screeching brakes over his music. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 5 seconds. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 4 seconds. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 2 seconds. Iris doesn't think. She leaps forward. With every ounce of strength in her body, she grabs the businessman by the heavy fabric of his backpack and yanks him backward with a violent, desperate scream. They both crash hard onto the wet concrete of the sidewalk, the breath knocked from Iris's lungs as they tumble into the rain. A split second later, the massive frame of the transit bus roars past the curb, its iron bumper missing the man's head by mere inches, shattering a metal light pole further down the street. The businessman gasps, ripping his headphones off, rolling over onto the wet asphalt. He turns to glare at Iris, his face pale with a mix of confusion, shock, and mounting rage. "What the hell is wrong with you?" he yells, his voice cracking. "You almost killed me!" But Iris isn't listening to his anger. She is looking above his head. The timer is gone. The air above him is completely clear. The black smudge on his neck has vanished into thin air. A manic, hysterical laugh bubbles up in her throat. She did it. She beat the system. She rewrote the math. But the universe does not allow a blank space in its ledger. To avoid Iris and the businessman who had suddenly tumbled onto the pavement, a delivery cyclist had been forced to swerve violently onto the sidewalk. The bike hits a young black girl holding a plastic grocery bag. She flips over the handlebars, her body rotating in the air before her neck strikes the sharp concrete edge of the curb with a sickening, distinct crack. Iris's laughter dies instantly. She crawls over the wet pavement, her hands trembling as she looks down at the girl. The groceries are scattered in the puddles, shattered glass, spilled milk mixing with the rain. And there, sinking deep into the dying girl's throat, a fresh, smoky black stain materializes from nowhere. Above her head, a digital clock flashes a brilliant, blinding white before hitting its final destination. 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. Iris pulls her hands back, staring at her palms in absolute horror. The businessman's death wasn't canceled. It was rerouted, and she was the one who steered the wheel. If saving a life requires a sacrifice, what will it cost her to save Leo?